Welcome back to another episode of the South by East podcast, where we discuss the scriptures, the culture, and everything in between. Braille, what do we have today?
Man, you know, the algorithm can be our friend. I joked last time that it is like the third member of the podcast. It's feeding us the good stuff.
Yes.
But for some reason,
The good stuff.
the algorithm got me messed up. There's a different kind of spirit in my Facebook feed, and it has been feeding me pieces from this Lionheart Church, and I was triggered.
Letting you hear it more.
Yeah, I was triggered upon hearing some of the things stated here. You know, music is important to me, and he was talking about the spirits that come within the music. I'm going to withhold judgment until after we watch this clip. So let's jump in.
That's why you need to be careful what music you listen to, because if music can get rid of a demon, it can attract one. And most of the music out here now attracts demons. Then you wonder why your lifestyle, you grooving and bumping in the car, but when you get out, you can't wait to figure out why your life is standing still. Sometimes it's the music that you're listening to, because whoever you listen to, what's on them attaches itself to you. Rick Joyner said, he was in a vision. The Lord told him, he said, in the last days, he said, the enemy will bring up singers and other musicians. He said, and they will baptize millions of people into the demonic in one moment. Whoever you accept, you get what's on them. I reject a whole lot of stuff. So I reject stuff in the world. Unfortunately, I reject a lot of stuff in what we call church. You know, not all gospel music is gospel.
Okay, all right. So first of all, I'm too much of a middle school kid for this conversation we about to have right now. So there will be lots of laughter from me. I'm just warn you up front. I remember, so when I was a chemical engineer, I worked in the chemical plants, and I don't know if you've ever been in an industrial plant environment.
No, I have not.
That environment is not known to be very wholesome.
Okay, it's not a family-friendly space.
Oh no! Hey,
Y'all
it's
like-
on a regular that we will be threatened with having to go through sensitivity training once again. And so either we were going in or coming out of sensitivity training.
Yeah.
That's just where we were at.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my but I would go in and like I would build relationships, and I got a chance to. There were some godly men and women in that environment, and I got a chance to introduce a lot of them to Christ. But I remember one time one of my coworkers were like, "Yeah, man. As a kid, I went to church, and my Sunday school teacher tried to tell me that rock and roll was the devil, and that because of the drums in there, it was the devil." And he said, you know, he pulled out his drumsticks and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start tapping, and you tell me at what speed the devil comes in."
You gotta have the tempo for the demonic.
And so
Gotta have the right tempo.
I was like, man, dude, I know your teacher hated you.
Bro, you know, like, man, I feel like on staff, I'm the one that's like, hey, man, if we got a difficult person, they need a loving approach, I'm often the one we send. I am also the one who on staff in run through most often gets told, bro, you can't say that. Take that out. Take that out, because the way that I tend to talk about things can sometimes be off-putting and belie the love in my nature. So I'm gonna try not to use words like we, Todd, and Ed as we speak about this position. I'm trying. So I'm gonna start here, because I know that there are some people, I got some friends that are hyper charismatic in both how they communicate their opinions and their theology, and they would agree with a lot of what he said. And so I'm gonna concede this. What we listen to, what we ingest, type of content that we ingest in our minds does have an impact on how we see the world. That's true of the music we listen to. That's true of the books we read. That's true of the shows we watch.
The social media we take part.
The people that we spend time around. And there's biblical basis for that. That is true. There's scientific and biblical basis for that.
The ethos of your life helps to shape the lens through which you view life.
Yes, that is 100% true. But this idea that if I switch the radio to a certain genre, that I am inviting demons into my soul and my home has not only no biblical basis, it is rooted in tomfoolery. It doesn't make any sense.
Can I tell you there is a movie scene that matches that clip?
What scene?
Have you ever seen the movie The Black Panther?
Yeah, I've seen The Black Panther.
As he was speaking, in my mind, all I could see was, when he drinks the special serum that like they're singing or whatever, and they he's drinking the serum, and then they have to bury his body in the special things or whatever. I was like, this brother's been watching Marvel. This brother has been watching Marvel.
Baptizing people into the demonic. I'm like...
He's like, he is becoming the Black Panther.
Yeah.
I'm
like, what are you
talking about?
I'm like, hey, fam, baptism, let me clear this up too, because I know I got my conspiracy theorist friends, and they think that getting a vaccine is the mark of the beast. Fam, not only is there not biblical evidence for that, but I'm going to tell you, worship is intentional. Worship is intentional. In the scriptures, God spoke several times against his own children for using the methods of worship that he prescribed for them with the wrong hearts and accompanied with lives filled with sin. They were making the right sacrifices. Sometimes they were doing them at the right times. Sometimes they were going to all the right places. The genre, the medium, the environment was correct. Their hearts were wrong. Worship is intentional. I am not being accidentally baptized into the demonic. Now, if I have an issue with lust, and I'm constantly listening to music that's about lusting and taking other people's women and cheating and doing all those types of things, and that starts to influence my behavior, that is not the work of a demon. That is the work of me feeding my own temptations and the sin in my heart. And yes, that allows me to be influenced, but that is not the same as worshiping the devil or being baptized into demonic activity.
And I want to say this. The threat often doesn't come from what we think it does.
Go there.
In the scriptures, one of the things you need to know is there are no instruments of Hebrew origin. Mm-hmm. So but when you read through the Psalms, you'll see where in some of the Psalms it will prescribe for different songs in the Psalms to have accompaniments from different instruments. Mm-hmm. So what you have Holy Spirit inspired authors prescribing the use of pagan instruments for the purpose of worshiping an infinite holy God.
Right. That's the precedent.
The threat didn't come from the musical instrument that was used. It came from the heart of the person who used the instrument. And rap is not satanic. It's the heart of the messenger, man, that's creating the music. And it's even like, look, it's one of those deals where you lusting, I'm using you as in just the metaphorical, you lusting after a female in church is not that female's fault.
No.
That is in your heart,
that's
right?
An internal
and it's too often, man, where the female in a situation like that has been blamed and the male has not been held accountable for his own heart.
Right.
And that's the deal is a lot of times, like, we got to start asking, like, man, why were we listening to that? Why are we drawn to that
That's
certain,
it.
the music with that certain message in there? Why does that resonate with us the most? And then we have to start looking at and holding our own hearts accountable in that. And that's where the breakdown, because it's easier to blame the other than to hold myself accountable.
And man, and that is like, that's in the book of Revelation, as Jesus is writing to the church, and there's a couple of them where Balaam was mentioned, but is it
Pergamum, yeah.
Is it Pergamum, where he's talking about following the teachings of Balaam. It's like, when I'm hearing a message that disagrees with what I know to be true of God's life and righteousness, I am being swayed by the teachings of Balaam. I'm identifying with this because there's something in that messenger's heart that, even though it's sinful, it's attractive to me. And that is an issue within me where I have to guard. And to me, that's where we should be looking at the music that we listen to. And that's why it's a personal thing. It's not that some music is not just objectively debaucherous. Like, that's that can be true. But when it comes to the influence of the music on me and in my heart, that has to do with me and what I am swayed by. And as I grow in my understanding of who Christ is and my understanding of who he's called me to be, my taste in some of those things should also shift as I grow and learn. And there's a place where sometimes even there's some things that are good, and as I get older, I'm like, this is not useful for me anymore.
So one of the things you got to realize is John, as he's writing the book of Revelation, he's talking to the churches on how to exist in the midst of Babylon. And that's the deal is, too often we think the answer is for Babylon not to exist.
Right.
And it's like the reality of the situation is Babylon does exist, and you still have to figure out how to be a faithful witness. Direct words, faithful witness in the midst of Babylon. And so it's like, man, I used to really love Cheetos and stuff when I was younger. And you hear me now, if I pick up a pack of Cheetos out of our little snack area, bro, like I'm messed up for the rest of the day. Like as I get older, man, my things change and I should mature and my taste should mature. I'll give you an example. Chance the Rapper. Just dropped a new album.
I heard about that.
I heard about it, right? I heard a small clip of it on a podcast that I listened to. I was like, oh, that sounds like it might be jamming. So I got Apple Music. I went and downloaded the whole CD onto my thing. And while I was cooking for the family, I was away. I was like, let me pop on this Chance the Rapper, see what it's about.
Right.
Man, I got like a song in. I was like, I'm going to stop this. I'm gonna delete this out of my library because the words and stuff coming through here, man. And here's what I like. It's like some of the Denzel movies, and I get so mad at him. Like, I love Denzel as an actor, but man, some of his movies, 119 minutes of it would be filled with debauchery, and then you have one minute of redemption at the end, and everybody's like. But I'm like, no, man, that 1 minute was not worth the 119 minutes of debauchery I had to go through and sit through for that 1 minute. I was like, I could have did without that. And it's just like a previous episode, I got to know my triggers. My kids, and then I'll flip this back over. Recently, I was talking with somebody, and they asked had I started letting my kids love to read. We have so many arguments in my house over library books. Wow. And like
that's funny. That's cool.
And they have, seriously, so many fights over hiding each other's library books. And or don't just go in my room and read my book.
My kids are kind of like that too. Their books.
But They asked me if I had let my kids start reading Harry Potter yet, and I was like, no. And I was like, they expected it to be because of my religious beliefs. But I was like, hey fam, my kids scare easily. And if they read something with any kind of like scary stuff in there, I lose sleep. And so I can't let
Yeah.
them be exposed to that
Yeah.
until they can handle that without making me lose sleep.
Right. Right. Right.
And it's just like one of those deals of just knowing, like, you have to monitor what you take in and know your triggers. I know they will think they want to read the Harry Potter books because they've heard somebody talking about them. But man, like, I know that the scary things they're going to read in those Harry Potter books are going to trigger nightmares. And therefore, I just got to say, like, I can't let you dive into that right now.
Right. Man, and yeah, it's about maturity. But where are y'all out with this? Obviously you know how I feel, but do you think that you can get spirits through music? And how do y'all feel just about the maturity of the content that you engage with? Man, continue to comment, like, and subscribe. Holler at us, and we'll see you next week.
In the intersection.